Fred and Sheila, Hatfield McCoy Museum, FredMcCoy.com. We are on an adventure.
Yep.
We're on Blackberry Creek. We're coming up on Peter Fork.
Okay.
A while back, somebody asked Sheila to do a story, asked us to do a story on the Battle of Grapevine. So that's where we're going. Now, right now, we're on Blackberry Creek, 1056, down below Preacher Ance's cabin. This road to the right here where that fire department is, up through there, that is called Peter Fork. Okay. Now, Sheila and I did a video a while back coming across from the other side, from Freeburn and Phelps area, Pound and Mill, coming across Peter Fork Mountain. If you cross over that mountain right there, you'll come out in Freeburn, DeLorme, that area. That's where we're going to, but we're going in a roundabout way. We're going to make one, and we're going to go up 49 and come out that way at Grapevine. Okay. A couple of reasons for that. One of them is the distance, to show you on the trip meter how far it is from Mate 1 to Grapevine. Because over the years, books and statements have misquoted, and they say that Grapevine's right outside of Mate 1. Well, it's not. It's quite a distance to Grapevine from Mate 1. But see, the Frank Phillips and his posse didn't come down through here. They went across Peter Fork. They went across Pound and Mill. Okay. To come out at Freeburn, to come out over there at Grapevine, where they had the Battle of Grapevine. Back then, they rode over the hills. They would take the shortest point. Now, that's called Peter Fork. The reason it's called Peter Fork is because of Peter Klein.
I thought that's what it was, yeah.
We know Perry Klein and Peter Klein, and the Kleins were pretty wealthy, had substantial land. Peter Fork, in fact, when he comes out at Freeburn and up through there, it turns into Peter Creek. There's a whole entire area right up there. Sheila pointed Hubert Bay's. Yeah, it's behind that tree
behind
right
that
there.
Tree.
Right in there.
Right there.
Hubert Bay. We're going by there in a second.
Yeah, you can see a grave there.
We're going to show you where Hubert Bay is buried, but it's all on the way. Yep. This is going to be one video about Battle of Grapevine. Okay. But we're going to throw some other things in along the way. So we're headed to Mate 1, and when we get to Mate 1, we'll restart.
There you go.
We're going across the pawpaw trees right there. That's where the 3 McCoy boys were killed. We're coming up on the Mate 1 bridge. This used to be called Mate Creek as we cross the bridge down here. Okay. I'm going to start the tripometer to 0. Okay. And we're going to go across this bridge, and we're going to head toward Grapevine. Alrighty. From Mate 1. Now we're crossing the Tug River.
There's the Tug.
There's the flood wall. We've did videos on the flood wall on Mate 1. And right up here is Warm Hollow. This is where they brought the 3 McCoy boys to and put them in the schoolhouse.
Can we go up there and look at that? We had a viewer to ask about that, and I think it would be cool if we could do it.
Well, there's not much to it, just a little short holler.
Oh, yeah, I know, but she still might like to, they might want to look at it
well,
still.
Here's your historical markers. This is for Mate Creek, or the Warm Hollow, rather. There's the historical marker.
Yeah, I've seen that.
This was at one time Warm Hollow, and there's not much to it. It just goes right up here. But this is where the old schoolhouse was, and where they brought the 3 McCoy boys and held them when Sarah and all of them come to visit, try to talk Wall and Devil Ants to turn them loose. Right there, it dead ends right there, where that gate is. So that's as far as you can go. Yep, because the rest of that goes up to... And the school was right up here on the left. And it's no longer standing. Yeah. But that's where the 3 McCoy boys, on this little hollow right here, were brought to. We took a little bit of a detour. I didn't want to do that, but
thank you.
That's okay.
I'm not sure she got to see, though. They did what it was like.
That. Yeah. Somebody had asked
Yeah.
Can you do a story on where the boys were taken? And there's not much of a story. They took them up this little holler right over there is Mate One Bridge. And they brought them right there and they held them. Now some people says that they took Ellison up here to another family's home. There's the old jail.
Right there. Hubert Bay's.
That's where Hubert Bay was killed, right in this area on that railroad track, coming from the Blue Goose.
Which is back there.
Yeah. And but Sheila and I have always felt that they've taken Ellison, right down through there's where he lives, the Newtown, and taking him home where he would have died at Double Camp there. There's a marker on his property.
Yep.
Now we're going to go out this road here and just up through here a little ways. We're going to go through what's called Blackberry City. Now the Tug River we just now came from is directly across over there.
Right.
That's Kentucky on the other side of those trees. There's a river in between, and that's Kentucky that we just came down that way. We're going parallel to the Tug River.
Right.
And up here on around this next curve and up this hill is Blackberry City.
Okay.
This is where Hubert Bay McCoy, the one Alan Hatfield shot in the back of the head and killed.
Blackberry City.
This is where he's buried at. This is where Asa McCoy, Hubert Bay would have been the great grandson of Asa McCoy. He was kin to Selkirk and that Asa.
Okay. Yeah.
And you know, there were 4 Asa McCoys at the time. Let's show the graveyard and then we'll discuss that. Right across from this church right here, right there,
through there
is the cemetery.
You can see it there.
That's the cemetery right there. And right up here behind that house is Hubert Bay McCoy's grave.
Right.
There was actually 4 that we know of. Asa McCoy, Sarah McCoy, and Uriah McCoy's brother, the father to Selkirk McCoy. Now he lived here on the West Virginia side. He was friends with Devil Ants.
Yeah.
There was Asa Peter McCoy. He was the one that had charged Ellison Hatfield and the 3 others for stealing 4 of his pigs in 1867. That was Asa Peter. There was Asa Harmon McCoy, Randall McCoy's brother, the first one killed in the first killing, more or less, in 1865 after he was released from the Union Army. And then there was Asa McCoy, the son of Uriah and Aunt Betty McCoy, which is my great-grandfather. Asa McCoy married Nancy Hatfield. That's my great-grandparents. Now, we're just at 2.2 miles, and right up here, we're going to come up on what's known as Thacker Holler. You all may ring a bell to you. Thacker Holler. That's where the home place of Jim Vance's was. That's where the McCoys and the Frank Phillips, the Smiths, all these different ones came across the Tug River on January the 8th, 1888, 7 days after the cabin massacre and killed 2 more children. And this is where they killed Jim Vance at.
Okay, guys, as you can see, there's the sign that says Thacker Holler Road.
Guys, up through here is Thacker Holler. This is where Jim Vance's home place was. Now, I wanted to go over a couple of things here. This video is about bad old Grapevine. Grapevine's on up the road there, toward the Lorne, toward Freeburn, Kentucky.
Okay.
Of course, the Battle of Grapevine took place January the 18th, 1888, on the West Virginia side of the Tug River. Some of the books about Grapevine, Battle of Grapevines, come over here, babe, so traffic ain't so loud to get hit by a car. Some of the books say that Grapevine was located just on the outskirts of Matewan. We're already at almost 5 miles from Matewan when we started turning the tripometer on. Just to Thacker Holler, we're 5 miles.
Okay.
And we've got about miles to go before we get to Grapevine. So when you hear people say that Grapevine's just right outside of Matewan, that's not correct. At the end of our journey, We'll tell you how far it is from Matewan Bridge to the Grapevine battle. This holler here, of course, is where Jim Vance was killed as he resisted arrest. We know that the posse came over from Lover's Lane, a little holler over there on Blackberry, in McCoy there.
Okay.
They crossed over the Tug River, which is on the other side of that old house there. There's a river in between that old house and that hill back there. That's the Tug River.
Okay.
And when they went up here to the old house, there was a woman there at the well. Now, once again, if you want to read the true history of what took place on that day, you can, right here's where it's at. Sam McCoy was there. Sam McCoy was with that posse. He was riding with them. They got rough with this old woman. She was out at the well, and a couple of the men that was in the posse, you got to remember, this was 6 days after the cabin massacre, and 2 more children had been killed and Sarah beaten. And a couple of the men got rough with this old woman. They was going to beat some information out of her. They wanted to know where the Hatfields and Jim Vance was at. And Sam McCoy stepped up and he said, "No, don't worry about it, ma'am. You don't have to tell them nothing. I'm not going to let nobody hurt you." And he tells the rest of them, he said, "Guys, the deal was that we wouldn't hurt nobody or do nothing unless we was fired upon. Now, if y'all going to act like this, I'll get on my mare and go home." So anyway, it was just a week earlier that they burnt the cabin down. Of course, when they spotted Jim Vance, when they got ready to leave up there, they spotted a woman coming out of the holler off the mountain, and she hollers, says, "Hey boys,
where you going and where you been?"
Yeah, what you want?
Yep.
Where you going? And she hollered real loud so Jim could hear her, to know she was talking to somebody. Well, one of the guys in the posse spotted Jim Vance, and they said, "There's old man Jim." And Jim dropped down behind a log and started shooting at him. And when he did, Cap took off running, and they shot and killed Jim Vance, and Cap ran. You'll see a story where we've done a video on this, but where Mary Vance, Jim Vance's wife, says that she didn't feel about Cap like she once did because he didn't have no courage. He took off running that day, but she'll put it verbatim what it says in the Library of Congress.
Yeah, I can add it to the end.
Was once known as Grapevine. You know, when we get up there in a minute, that road up there was once known as Grapevine Holler, Grapevine Creek, Old Ben's Mining Road, and it's now known as Devil Ants Drive.
Yeah.
Let's continue on, and we'll do the rest of it from up there at Grapevine.
Okay. Hello. Welcome back, guys. This is the continuance of it. There's grass up around this, so I don't want to get snake bit. But here it is, the Battle of Grapevine. I hope you can see that. I'll let you leave it on there for just a little bit so you can be read. Hope I got that in there. If not, I'll include a picture of it. But as you can see, it's falling down there. So, but there you go. Hey.
Okay, guys, let's fill you in just a little bit here. Now, this is where they have put the marker at for the Battle of Grapevine.
Okay.
Right over there is Devil Ants Drive. They've changed the name of that holler there. That's now known as Devil Ants Drive.
Yep.
Anywhere in West Virginia, they try to build devil ants up as much as they can. And we're right in the middle of coal country right here. They are on the coal. Show it. Show it. He loaded down.
Yay.
Here comes another one pulling out.
Yep, there he goes.
This is what Sheila and I were raised up with.
Yeah. They go in this road over here and then out this one.
This is how people will make their living here.
That's right.
At one time, it was known as the $1 billion coal field, Mingo County.
Yep.
The battle stemmed from the events that took place on New Year's Eve, and it also stemmed from what took place at the pawpaw trees. Remember, there was 20 warrants already out for the Hatfield gang, In this battle, the Hatfields fought against sworn Kentucky posse, led by state law enforcement officer Frank Phillips, Pike County Deputy Sheriff Jim McCoy, who later became a U.S. Marshal, and a Pinkerton detective known as John Yates. Phillips hoped to capture the men and wanted the 3 boys assassinated for the assassination of the 3 boys and the New Year's, what is it, my glasses?
No.
And the 2 that was killed at the massacre. You know, here's a comment: had Frank Phillips been a bad man or a killer, why did he take prisoners? Why not just kill them all right here?
On the spot,
you know, guys, a lot of people ask, where is the exact place of the Battle of Grapevine? We don't know. We can't tell you. Here's where West Virginia has put the marker at. We don't know that. If we knew to correct it, believe me, you know how we are, we would correct it. We don't know. So this is as good a place as any. Phillips hoped to capture the man. The battle was a decisive victory for Phillips, ending with the deaths and retreat of the majority of the Hatfield men. Now that's out of somebody else's book. The battle was a decisive victory for Phillips, ending with the deaths and retreat of the majority of the Hatfield men. Retreat? Laughable. How about running? How about ran? How about Devil Anse did exactly the same thing that he did in the Battle of Pond Creek when they were in heavy battle, and he took off running with a bunch of his men. You know, it seemed like when it come toe to toe or man to man fighting, that wasn't for him. And I'll read you something off page 25 here of Sam's book in a minute. Page 25, Sam McCoy, which was a friend of the Hatfields at one time, especially Ellison. But you'll see what Sam McCoy says about the Hatfields.
Okay.
In total, the capture of 9 men who would later stand trial for their involvement in the New Year's Day attack and the pawpaw tree murder. Triple murder at the pawpaw trees and double murder at the cabin. The Battle of Grapevine is notable for being the final battle of the feud. Actually, it's the only battle of the feud. Up to this point here, they had tied 3 boys to trees. They had set fire to a man's cabin in the middle of the night, shot their kids when they run out, beat the old woman. This was the only battle. The Battle of Grapevine is notable, been the final battle. Also known as the only battle fought using military tactics. Must be referring to Randall McCoy's military tactics and Uriah McCoy, my great-great-grandfather, because Devil Anse deserted. He wasn't in their Civil War in the military long enough to learn any military tactics. Barely there long enough to get a uniform if he did. A series of warrants were issued for the arrest of the men involved, charging them with the assault of McCoy matriarch Sarah, as well as the murder of 2 of her children, Calvin and Alifair. Not to mention still outstanding warrants for 20 men that had murdered the 3 boys at the pawpaw tree. This was just not about the cabin. They was after them for burning the cabin down and killing 2 more. You got a yellow jacket, a bunch of yellow jackets on you.
Okay, we'll just shift.
Upon the issuing of these warrants, in the days following the attack, the 30th governor of Kentucky, Simon Buckner, swore Frank Phillips in as a state law enforcement officer. And Frank deputized many Kentuckians who came to Randall and Sarah's aid. You know, guys, that's why it went to the Supreme Court we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
This wasn't a bunch of hooligans or a bunch of bounty hunters that come across wanting to collect a bounty. This was actually Kentucky law enforcement officers. This was a posse of Kentucky lawmen.
Mm.
Frank began to hunt those responsible for the cabin massacre and subsequent death of 2 more of Randall and Sarah's children. In his quest to do so, he initially tracked down Jim Vance and Cap Hatfield, and which ended in a gunfight. Jim's wife called Cap a coward. That's one thing she'll put at the end. That's in the Library of Congress where Mary Vance said Cap, she don't feel about Cap like she once did, that he left her husband there to fend for himself. Of course, the History Channel shows Jim Vance saying, "Go on, boys, Go on.
Save yourself.
I'll take care of this. No need in all of us dying. That sounds like something probably Jim Vance would have done. But there's no evidence to that. With some of the other times that Caps ran during battle, we feel that he probably just ran that day also. After the Battle of Grapevine, Cap and Chauncey took off out west, abandoning their dad, Devil Anse. You got to remember, what kind of position did this put Devil Anse in? Jim Vance is killed. Jim Vance was his right hand. His left hand was Cap and Chauncey. They both took off and left. They went out west. They ran. Devil Anse started to fend for himself. He's not used to that. That's why he was hiding in caves and staying at different people's places. Death of Jim Vance set fear to Devil Anse and the West Virginia Hatfields. Hatfield gang prepared for the final battle, and they meant to gain revenge against Phillips and the McCoy family for killing Jim Vance. See, when they left here that day, when they was headed to Kentucky, they didn't know that the Kentucky posse was headed back this way. It was just happenstance. Huh?
It just happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
By chance.
By chance. The Hatfields were going toward Kentucky. The West Virginia Hatfields, Devil Anse's bunch, because we have Hatfields in Kentucky, good Hatfields. This was Devil Anse's outlaws, the Hatfield gang. And as they were heading across the river, here come Frank Phillips and his posse coming this way to gather up some more of the Hatfield gang on these warrants. And when they saw them, they took off running back, and they took cover. They took cover somewhere around this area. We don't, not saying we're in the exact area, guys. Nobody knows. But somewhere around here, they were already on the Kentucky side. The Kentucky posse was. Frank Phillips. They all dismounted and they started shooting. Those who were not killed or wounded were forced to retreat. How about run? Unlike the History Channel with Randall McCoy running in the trees drunk. How about run? They didn't retreat. They ran. They ran. Man to man, toe to toe. Kentucky law enforcement against the wild Devil Anse Hatfield gang. And they ran. And some of them was wounded. They picked up their wounded and took them. The rest of them was taken captive. In the end, 9 members of the Hatfield gang were taken prisoner and eventually stood trial for their crimes. Now, I don't know how many was taken prisoner that day, because I think Wall Hatfield and the Mayhorns were taken prisoner a day or two before.
Okay.
But in the end, there was 9 of them that was held captive and tried, and eventually stood trial for their crimes. The fight since has been referred to as the Battle of Grapevine, and is notable because it acted as the final battle of the feud. Devil Anse figured he didn't like man-to-man fighting without trees, ropes, and matches, and 20 or 30 of his gang members. And that's the truth. I know, guys, people think I'm rough on Devil Anse. You guys got the wrong characterization. You guys have been told the wrong history of this man for years and years and years, and people begin to believe it. You tell somebody something over and over, and they tend to believe it. Devil Anse was a coward. He was a deserter. He was a private. He's been written into history. Just like that road right there. Devil Anse Hatfield Road or Drive, whatever it is.
Drive, I think it says.
Devil Anse Hatfield Drive. He's a coward. But that's what... It resulted in many of those involved in facing legal repercussion. In addition, I'm not going to go over it.
Okay.
Sam McCoy says in his book there, and she'll show you, page 25, Sam's book, but Hatfields would not stand. They ran. Then the firing commenced in earnest about 300 yards apart. But the Hatfields would not stand. They ran. They're talking about Devil Anse's party there. It's on page 25 of Sam McCoy's book. On page 26, he says Jim McCoy was appointed a deputy marshal by the state marshal of Kentucky. So not only did you have Frank Phillips there as a state appointed police officer by the governor, deputy state's marshal Jim McCoy, and then you had the Pinkerton guy. You know, Sam McCoy, we're almost done here, but Sam McCoy says on one of the pages here, we'll get it. They're talking about Devil Anse. They'd interviewed Devil Anse in this Master Detective. November the 28th, 1931. Sheila and I have never found that. We've never found that. We've offered a reward for it. The family would like to put that in a museum, but. And Sam says, I never heard of this before till I read it in a magazine the other day. November the 28th, 1931. The Master Detective. Which is not true. For Devil Anse Hatfield and his brothers, all were men that did not have much grit. Except they had backers. Then they were dangerous. They didn't have much grit by themselves, but boy, you put them, a bunch of men with them, they were mean as hell. And that's what Sam's saying there. Now Sheila's going to post these maps of Grapevine, and you all can Google it and get you a better idea of where the river is and how they come across. And look here, a little bit of water right there.
Exactly.
You know, it's according to what time of year it is at Tug River. In fact, Sheila commented on the way up, babe.
Yeah, I said it doesn't look like the Mighty Tug anymore. It's looks more like a little stream. I mean, parts of it is really thinned out. You see nothing but rocks.
And that's the way it got back in the day also. And that's why they picked certain areas to cross over the Tug River. You would go to the part, especially where Grapevine Creek, let's walk right over here.
Is the car locked?
And we'll just go right here.
Okay.
But let's see if this is not a creek coming out right here. And if it is, see, right there you can see the river.
Yeah.
This is a creek, I knew it was.
Yeah, it says Grapevine Creek on the map there.
I want you to look here. Here's Grapevine Creek.
Look at that.
This is Grapevine Creek. Now let's walk over here and show you something. And you can Google this, but that is the Tug River.
Yeah.
That's the Tug River flowing toward Matewan. Here's the creek.
Okay. Yeah.
Grapevine Creek runs in to Tug River. Now look out there underneath that rail. See all that dirt and gravel there? I hope they can see that build up. That's where one stream runs into another, and you've got this sediment, and it settles there right at the opening. And it goes farther and farther and farther out as the water gets up, which makes it easier for people to cross over the river. You can look out there right now. You can wade across that river.
Right.
The water's not so deep you would have to swim nowhere out there.
Is there a...
All right, guys. We don't want to get run over here.
Shoot, Jill.
She'll finish up at the house.
Okay.
You don't want?
Yeah.
You got it on?
Yeah.
Let me get you. Go ahead.
Whoa. Whoa.
Guys, we're going to try to show you a better view. Don't fall, baby.
Yeah, no. These rocks are...
We're going to try to take you down here.
Oh, yeah, there's a little walkway. Look at this.
Yeah. Look at my girl, buddy. Huh?
I hit those rocks and look at the
I did the same thing. That's why I took the camera for, so they couldn't see me. Oh, don't worry, you'll probably cut it out. Knowing you, you'll see those scissors come up. There's Grapevine Creek, guys. Right underneath that bridge. Grapevine Creek. And we are going to walk down to, watch for snakes, babe. Right here. Watch for snakes.
There we go.
Don't fall on them rocks. They're slick. You may want to step over here on that big one, that dry one. I come through the creek. You may want to.
That's what I was going to do, go through the creek.
I got to tie your shoes when you get over here.
Yeah, they never stay tied, y'all. They're made out of some kind of funky material and they never stay tied.
Now, guys, this is your Tug River. This is your Tug River. Somebody has put them a stacked some rocks there. They've come out here and fished and camped out. Now right over there is where that's Kentucky. Anything wrong?
No, I'm just working.
Now, usually this river, where we're over top of these rocks right here, this is usually all water. But you can see what it looks like today. Now that right in there is probably 3 or 4 foot deep. This over in here is ankle to knee high deep. You could walk, and especially on horseback, you could walk from one side of the river to the other. That's Kentucky right over there. So somewhere in this area, when they came across, they got up in here on the West Virginia side and they met the Hatfields. And from there, Sam McCoy says they was about 300, huh?
I was just looking, there was another road. The Grapevine Creek looks like it comes out over here.
Yeah, it splits right there. It comes out anywhere it wants, but it's got 2 little trails there.
I seen that. I was trying to find the other one.
But
Be nosy, Rosie.
Earlier, guys, I think I said my shoes are never dry. I meant tied. They're made out of funny materials and they won't stay tied.
look up there on that hill. Look at that cliff.
Yeah.
What a place for a rifleman, a lookout to have
you
been.
See those? See that big rock up there?
Here, take it. You can point better than I do. Maybe they can see it.
Right there, wherever my finger's at. Hopefully it's in the right spot there, guys. There's a big old rock right there.
Keep filming in that.
And they could stand right there and pick people off. Right there, that's pretty cool though. Wow, look at this. And like you said, Grapevine Creek, it's kind of split off. But here was one over here. It looks like it could have come down this way here because there's a little bit of water there. See that? But then if you look over here, here's like the main stream. See it there going there?
So for the 2 or 3 people that kept writing, wanting a story on the Battle of Grapevine,
Yeah,
this is it, guys.
yeah.
This is in the area
Grapevine Creek.
that it took place. Over here is Grapevine Creek. And it comes out. Of course, it's dried up.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's kind of split off.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of standing water there, but the majority of it's coming this way.
Yeah. But look back in a week, a month, or whatever. Wait till the next rain comes through, and you'll be surprised how fast this water level can rise. But you know, that was back in the 1800s, 1888. But look at here how it is even today. And the reason it's like this today is, and that's the reason it was like this back in that day, all this sediments from the creek, when the creek up in that holler or up in them mountains, all that water comes off, it washes it down to the Tug River. And look in here how far it has pushed a natural bridge, what should be right here.
Right.
The river should run just like that. Oh God, there comes a train. Run, trying to get across the track. So the river should continue to go all the way down through here like that. But see, it's not, because all of that sediments have been washed out of the Grapevine Creek. And we're gonna head back to the car. We're not going, oh yeah, we're not gonna beat that train. I don't know how much of this you'll put in there. You may put it all.
Yeah.
They can watch.
Yeah.
They can watch what they want.
Yeah.
There goes the train. Yeah.
It comes out through there.
Yeah, it even forks there. or these are tankers. But I'm sorry.
I wonder how long that train's gonna be.
Nah, it won't be long. All the coal gongs are gone, it looks like. I was wanting to show these gongs filled with coal. Let's go underneath the bridge and look. There's some more. That's what hauls the coal out of eastern Kentucky, southern West Virginia. Grapevine Creek. It's took us a while, and I'm going to tell you, one of the reasons we haven't done a story on the bad old Grapevine is just because nobody knows a lot about, as far as being specific.
Right.
And Sheila and I, what we try to do is history of things that we can prove or correct that's been told wrong. We definitely don't want to tell nobody the wrong history. So if you can't say it right, don't say it at all.
Hi guys, just want to let you know the train is still going by, but I think we forgot to mention at the beginning of the video that it's exactly 6 miles from Avon. What we did, we crossed under the bridge, come up this way and around and up this road and out to the car.
Yeah.
So we went in one way and come out a different one.
We didn't have to wait on the train.
No.
We come. Huh?
You can still see it going, so I was wondering how long this is going to take it to get by. So I'm glad we got to go under it and around. That was pretty cool.
Oh, it's been going for a while.
Yeah.
But we came underneath this bridge right here.
Yeah.
Walked underneath that all the way up around and then back around.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
All right, Sheila, you got anything else on this one?
No. I don't think so.
Okay.
I think we're good on this one. So, to the viewers that asked us to do the Battle of Grapevine, here you go. This is what we can find out. And like we said, we're not for sure. We knew it was in this area, but that's where they put the marketer at.
Guys, just as a supplemental to the
Follow-up or a follow-up?
A follow-up to the last video we did at Grapevine. Sheila and I were just talking, and we wanted to add a couple of things to it. You know, I know that everybody knows I'm rough on Devil Ants because they've made a hero out of a zero, and I try to point that out to people every chance I get. But let me explain something to you why. Let's take, for instance, Cap Hatfield. I didn't know Cap, don't know Cap, never knew Cap or anything else, but let's just look. Let's investigate.
Okay.
And Mary Vance said that when they shot Jim Vance, her husband, when they opened fire and everybody started shooting, that Cap Hatfield took off for running. And she'll never respect Cap for his courage again, or he was a coward, or whatever she was. Sheila will post it at the end of the video, but there's a newspaper article.
Said she'll never think of him in the same way.
Yeah, there's a newspaper article in the Library of Congress of her statement. Now, that's not me or Sheila, that's Mary Vance. She knew Cap. She was there that day. She knew what happened. Sam McCoy says that when the shooting started, Cap Hatfield ran. He ran. That's not us talking. That's what happened. That he lived to fight another day. So he lived. He ran. Let's go with Devil Ants Hatfield. You know, Sam McCoy says there in his book, and Sheila will put it at the back, but he says that he never had a better friend than Ellison Hatfield. Him and Ellison Hatfield at one time was good friends. But he also said that Devil Ants and the Hatfield, his brothers, didn't have a lot of grit about them. That's not my words. That's Sam McCoy. He was there. He knew these guys. Didn't have a lot of grit about them unless they had backers. Unless they had backers, unless they had backup. More people, the bigger the crowd, the meaner they were. You know, whether they were called Logan Wildcats, Tug Valley Raiders, or the Hatfield Gang. They were just a bunch of desperados. A bunch of misfits. And they were bad men when they were together, especially. So when you look at these stories, or you look at other stories, and they build Devil Ants up, or they build Cap up, or they, sometimes you got to look at the evidence from other things that's happened throughout the feud, and during the feud, and after the feud, people's reputation from others. Look at T.C. Crawford. T.C. Crawford said that Cap Hatfield didn't have one redeeming quality about him. Not one redeeming quality. He knew Cap. He met Cap. He interviewed Cap. So this ain't Fred talking. We're telling you what we have investigated, what Sheila and I have found out over the years. And we didn't just find this out yesterday, or last week, or last year, or 5 years ago, or 20 years ago. We found this out years ago. Well, many years before the History Channel, many years before we started coming out and actually putting it out there, after we retired. Anyway, Sheila, do the closing. See you back there. Well, show them what you're doing to me.
Doing this, guys, or this. Thanks for watching, guys. We hope you enjoyed our adventure today. Please like, subscribe, and share. We'll catch you on the next one. Bye.